Susie Steimel tonight with an original report on the people taking our emergency system for a ride.
It's the start of the night shift at Paramedics Plus. Already, they're running a code 3, which means lights and sirens, clearing a path down 880, and speeding through red lights to get to a report of a man who cannot move at the Warm Springs BART station.
Oh yeah, see, male in his 60s, that's him.
The crew already knows who the man is before we get there, just based on the type of call. BART police told paramedics the man simply refused to move. He was sleeping on the BART platform and said he needed to go to a hospital when they tried to rouse him. He's what's known as a frequent flyer, people who call 911 on a regular basis who often don't need medical treatment. EMT Tanya Powell says she spends entire shifts picking people up who aren't having medical emergencies.
If I work a 12-hour shift, 50 to 75% are frequent flyers or don't need an ambulance.
On our ride along, it didn't take much time to get the picture. At the Whole Foods near Washington Hospital, another frequent flyer is waiting. Someone called 911 trying to get him kicked off the property. He tells EMT workers about his chronic seizures that get worse when he abuses alcohol.
I drink and I don't take my seizure medication.
Do you have access to medication? Where do you get your medication from?
It's expensive.
I know. So how do you get your medications?
I don't.
In the end, he turned down the ride, but only after tying up an ambulance with an EMT and paramedic, a fire truck with 3 firefighters, and a squad car with 2 police officers. The county sent us a list of the top 25 frequent flyers who call 911 on a regular basis. In 2 years, 25 people have collectively called 911 4,291 times. If the average transport costs $600, that adds up to over $2.5 million. The number 1 frequent flyer makes up 300 of those calls. His estimated tab alone is $180,000.
So you just become a taxi for the end of the night?
We do, unfortunately.
So it's not just about the cost. Some nights there are so many frequent flyer calls that the system reaches what's known as a level 0. That means someone with a real medical emergency, like a heart attack, might have to wait longer for an ambulance.
This is a public health in the far wider sense situation and crisis.
Paramedics Plus COO Rob Lawrence says solving this problem is complicated. If someone calls 911, they're liable and have no choice but to transport. Back in Fremont, minutes after paramedics dropped him off at Washington Hospital, our first frequent flyer of the night was back out on the curb.
They'll become belligerent if they don't get what they come to the hospital for, which is food. And in this case, the patient was upset because he didn't get the sandwich that he wanted.
So security called 911. This time he walked into another ambulance himself and was transported to John George Hospital.
There you go. And once he's released from there, he's back out into the street, and we'll probably run on him twice again tomorrow.
In Fremont, Susie Steimel, KPIX 5.
And this is not just Alameda County. The entire Bay Area is facing the same daunting challenges. Turns out some of these frequent flyers are visiting multiple emergency rooms a day. Well, join us for that story this Sunday night at 6 p.m.